What if Yuji's domain expansion turns out to be the boxing ring? A domain where he might be able to beat the hell out of Sukuna. Along with a second domain inspired by the Buddhist hell, I'll break down two domain expansions that could potentially be Yuji's. First, I'll explain the cold hell, since it's connected to my previous video about hot hell. Then after that, we'll proceed to the boxing ring domain. So how do these two domain expansions work? To help you fully grasp them, let me start by sharing something mind-blowing about Yuji that's connected to his domain. So I came across this theory on the Jujutsu Kaisen subreddit, and it got me thinking, what if Yuji's understanding of the soul could increase his chances of having an open barrier domain? You know, like Sukuna and Kenjaku? Okay, just a reminder, there are two types of domain expansions. Domains with a barrier, like the Infinite Void, and those without a barrier, such as the Malevolent Shrine and Womb Profusion. But the question is, how exactly does understanding the soul grant Yuji a barrierless domain? Firstly, Yuji was a vessel, meaning a soul once resided within him. This is why Gojo explained in chapter 12 that in due time, Yuji's body will learn Sukuna's curse technique. So given that, if Yuji will learn Sukuna's curse technique soon, this shows that there's a chance that Yuji can also develop an open barrier domain. We even got a glimpse of Yuji's domain way back in season 1. That's right, you don't remember? Here's the proof. So look closely at this reflection, guys. See that right there? That, my friends, is foreshadowing. But if you're still not convinced, let me hit you with evidence number 2. Considering Yuji's father or mother, Kenjaku, as a sorcerer has a deep understanding of the soul, it makes sense that he's able to do a barrierless domain. This guy's so knowledgeable about souls that he was the one who transformed Sukuna's soul into a cursed object and divided it into 20 fingers. Moreover, Kenjaku has been body swapping for centuries, essentially hopping from one soul to another. He even claims the body is the soul and the soul the body. Yeah, whatever that means. So this guy has basically been playing around with souls his entire lives, which is why he has an open domain just like Sukuna. And Sukuna also has a deep understanding of the soul, because after experiencing death, he understood how to split his soul into cursed objects. This is also the reason why he has a barrierless domain too. So with all these clues, I believe Yuji will definitely have an open barrier domain, one of which could possibly be based on the 8 levels of cold hell in Naraka as described in Buddhism. In my previous video about Yuji's Benevolent Shrine domain, I explained the connection between Malevolent Shrine and the 8 hot hells of Naraka. Many of you pointed out in the comments a scene from season 2 that seems connected to Naraka, especially in episode 21. Since many of you mentioned that this scene could actually be Yuji's domain, I decided to check if you guys are right. So I rewatched the episode and searched through the darkest depths of the internet. And guess what? You're right. I found that there's a lot of powerful symbolism in that episode. And I want to break it down so you can understand how it relates to the cold hell Naraka, because it's juicy. Starting with the title of this episode, Henshin, which means metamorphosis or transformation. The kanji hen can be translated as to change, while the kanji mi can be translated as one's body or one's person. This episode not only focused on Mahito's evolution, but also on how Yuji changed as a person. Initially, our boy didn't accept the fact that he and Mahito were the same, but when Yuji finally accepted his true nature, it even scared Mahito. Then the scene switched into a different place, a cold, lifeless landscape. And this is where most of you mentioned that this is the representation of cold hell. Next symbol is the rabbit. As Mahito cowardly ran to save his life, he was depicted running along with rabbits. And rabbits literally mean cowardice or to run away. Second, the black wolves. You'll see Yuji walking alongside a group of black wolves. And in many cultures, the black wolf is a symbol of death, meaning that death is with Yuji and death is coming for Mahito. Third is the white wolf. We saw Yuji depicted as a white wolf, and I think this is connected to a Japanese legend known as the Wolf Legend of Mitsume Shrine. According to the story, a white wolf saved Prince Yamato Takeru, a legendary hero in Japan, and his men when they ended up lost in the mountains after being tricked by an evil deer. So in gratitude, Yamato Takeru declared the wolf to be the Oguchi no Makami, or the true god with the big mouth, as a guardian against evil. The white wolf symbolizes Yuji since he's trying his best to drive away evil. Okay, so now that you get the symbolism in episode 21, let's get to the juicy part. The 8 Coldnauticas. So what if Yuji's curse technique is the opposite of Sukuna's? You know, since that guy can use fire, it makes sense that Yuji can wield ice. Yeah, just like Uraume, but way more powerful, hopefully. Not only that, imagine the longer Yuji casts this domain, the deeper it delves into each level, and each one brings its own brand of deadly effects. So let's kick things off with the first level, Arbuda, or the Blister Naraka. Picture a cold, dark, frozen wasteland with non-stop blizzards. Then imagine naked people wandering around this place. Okay, I don't want you to take this imagination too far, alright? But due to the intense cold, they're all getting blisters. Now, if that's what Yuji's domain does, minus the naked people of course, Yuji's enemies will start developing blisters from the extreme cold. Only those who are skilled with the reverse curse technique can continuously heal to counter this effect. Well, even if you are tough enough to keep regenerating, here's what the next level looks like. Nirarbuda, Burst Blister Naraka. This level is even colder than Arbuda, and those blisters you got earlier, they'll burst. And due to the intense cold, even the blood coming out of the wounds will freeze. Damn. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th levels all have the same effect. So the 3rd level, Atata, aka the Shivering Naraka. This place is so cold that it will cause you constant shivering and make your mouth utter sounds like atatatatatatat. The same concept applies to Hahava, the 4th level known as the Lamentation Naraka. Due to the extreme pain beings in this hell face, they will start to say the sound ha ha ha. I know that sounds weird, but it's not what you think. The 5th level is Huhuva, or as they call it, the Chattering Teeth Naraka. The extreme cold causes uncontrollable teeth chattering, and beings here shiver so much that their teeth make this noise. So imagine these 3 levels as one domain effect. The intense cold will stop Yuji's enemies from speaking clearly, disrupting their ability to cast curse techniques effectively. And if you think Sukuna's talking belly button can survive that, well, just in case you're right, let me show you the last 3 levels then. Just like the previous ones, these levels have their own similarities. The 6th level, Utpala, the Blue Lotus Naraka. This level's so damn cold that everyone's skin turns blue, just like the Utpala water lilies. For the 7th level, imagine blizzards so intense they freeze your goddamn balls off. No, I'm just kidding. So intense they freeze your skin, then crack it open. This chilly nightmare is called Padma, the Lotus Naraka. The 8th and final level is the Great Lotus Naraka, Mahapadma. In this level, your body along with its internal organs will freeze and eventually begin to crack due to the extreme cold. Like even your internal organs will begin to crack. What? Is it me, or do these levels kind of remind you of Doma's Blood Demon art in Demon Slayer? But tossing aside Doma, if you're still messing with Yuji inside these 3 levels, just think about the damage it would do to you. Your skin turns blue, then it will start to freeze and crack. And by the time you hit the last level, cold is so intense it reaches your internal organs. And as a sorcerer, if that cold hits your brain, well, you can even say goodbye to your reverse curse technique and the world as you know it. But you might be thinking that this domain is still not enough to defeat the King of Curses. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the most awaited domain expansion in the world, the Boxing Ring. Since Yuji is pretty good in hand-to-hand combat and has his superhuman strength, what if his domain expansion manifests itself as a boxing ring, reflecting some of the rules and regulations of professional boxing? Here's my theory on how it would work. So when Yuji activates the domain, the range of this will be similar to the Malevolent Shrine, with a maximum of 200 meters. But it's up to Yuji how wide he can adjust the range of this domain. If people are caught within this adjustable range, they will be made to participate as spectators. Then a binding vow will be placed, so that there can be no interference from outside the ring once the fighters engage. It's cool that this domain will probably have a Shikigami as a referee or judge, just like Judgment, though it could take other people and don't need to be a boxing expert or a judge to be a referee. Once activated, the rules of boxing and the domain will be revealed directly to the brains of the chosen 3 judges and the referee, just like how Kenji Hakari's domain works. But fighters won't be able to hurt the judges. the referee, or any spectators as per domain rules. So if Yuji is fighting Sukuna, he won't have to worry about Sukuna murdering everyone. Well, for now. Yeah, because he might just kill everybody after. Similar to Higuruma's domain, Yuji's domain will equip him and his opponent with boxing gear, including gloves, that enhance their chances of landing a black flash. The effectiveness of the black flash will depend on how skillfully it is done once unleashed. Now here's the really exciting part. Before the match begins, Yuji and his rival will be balanced to the same weight class in terms of burst energy. This will also stop them from using their curse techniques to make sure that the fight is fair for both sides. The fight will be divided into 12 rounds, each lasting 3 minutes, with 1 minute rest in between rounds. One of the rules of this domain expansion will be that only punches are allowed as attacks. Strikes below the belt or in illegal areas, along with any other illegal attacks, will result in penalties. These penalties will vary, ranging from weakening the offender's next attack to more severe consequences such as temporary loss of cursed energy. Okay, now moving on to the rules to decide the winner. If a fighter is knocked down, they must get up within a 10-second count. Failing to do so will mean losing the domain battle. A TKO will be declared if a fighter is deemed unable to continue, based on a judgment call. If the fight goes all 12 rounds without a knockout or TKO, the outcome will be decided based on aggressiveness, technique, and the number of effective hits. In this case, the domain itself acts as the judge, along with the other 3 judges. In any scenario, the winner takes all, meaning the winner will be able to do anything. But imagine if Sukuna wins. We all dead. Everybody dead. Yet, since the domain is a manifestation of Yuji, it will still give every participant a chance to leave the area for a limited time. Once time runs out, all implemented rules will be gone, and the winner will be able to do as they please. Sukuna will be able to kill Yuji along with everybody else. But if our boy wins, the same relentless rules will apply to him, and now he'll have the upper hand. And he can totally give Sukuna a taste of his own finger. I mean medicine. More than that, Yuji can save Megumi, if he's still in there somewhere. However, this doesn't mean Yuji has all the advantages, because Sukuna is cunning, strategic, and also skilled in hand-to-hand combat himself. And you know our boy Yuji's kinda dumb. Now if this domain isn't enough to kill the King of Curses, there is another domain expansion. A domain that can heal the soul. The Benevolent Shrine.